This is Destination Tehachapi, where I'll share with you the trains I saw on my first ever visit to Tehachapi Loop. Starting on I-40 West at the Arizona-California border. We stopped to see an eastbound BNSF stack train before continuing on to AMBOY, where I just missed another eastbound train at the crossing. We stop at the crossing just in time to catch an approaching westbound. We get ahead of the train and catch it again at Newberry Springs. After Newberry Springs, we continue west, capturing numerous trains along the way. In Daggett, the Union Pacific enters trackage rights on the BNSF. We arrive just as a Union Pacific unit grain train is entering BNSF trackage rights. We miss the head-end power, but catch the 3 mid-train DPUs. And the 1 rear DPU. After Daggett, it's just a short hop west to Barstow. At the Western America Railroad Museum, there are some amazing relics of railroading history on display. An eastbound BNSF train departs Barstow Yard. Right on its heels appears another eastbound. Three Norfolk Southern Triple Crown trailers. In the distance, looking west, I notice a former City Rail lease unit. Leaving Barstow, we continue west to Mojave. In Mojave, 3 Union Pacific SD-70Ms work the yard. In the distance, an eastbound BNSF stack train waits for the Trona local to clear, with 6 Union Pacific engines. After Mojave, we finally head to Tehachapi Loop, just in time to catch an eastbound Union Pacific train climbing the loop. The train is going slow enough for us to get to the outlook platform and get another vantage of it making its ascent. Back in Mojave on a very windy morning, our first catch of the day is an eastbound Union Pacific train with empty container wells. A westbound BNSF train, led by engine number 7068, arrives. We're going to chase this one to Edison. We stop east of Tehachapi to get our first shots of the westbound BNSF train we're chasing. Before it passes, an eastbound Union Pacific stack train goes through first. Shortly after the Union Pacific stack train clears, our BNSF mixed freight arrives. At this spot, you can see the head-end power and the rear DPUs at the same time. In Bealville, you can see trains high above as they twist around and double back on themselves, where again, you can see the head-end power and the rear-end power at the same time. Upon arriving at Caliente, we catch an eastbound Union Pacific mixed freight just in time. At Tunnel 2 in Caliente, we see our BNSF train with engine number 7068 leading, moving slowly as it works its way down grade. After the train clears Tunnel 2, we continue west to Edison, catching another BNSF eastbound, waiting for clearance. At Edison, BNSF 7068 passes. Another eastbound BNSF train arrives. We'll get ahead of it and catch it again. Canadian National 3092. In Baina, the headlight of an approaching westbound train appears, so we stop to catch it. We go back to Tunnel 2 in Caliente to catch a westbound BNSF unit grain train led by 4 GE locomotives. After the grain train, another BNSF westbound appears. In MONOLITH, we catch a westbound Union Pacific mixed freight with engine number 8458 leading. So we'll follow this one back west and catch it on the loop. In ROWEN, we get a dramatic view of 8458 leading its train along the side of the mountain on its approach to the loop. At the Tehachapi Loop viewing platform, a crowd has gathered to watch 8458 work its way around the loop.
Nothing against trees, just that one.
On the way back to town from the car along State Route 58 East, I spot a westbound BNSF stack train in my last view of Tehachapi Loop before heading home. Stopping in Cable along I-58, we see a westbound Union Pacific stack train winding its way around the various curves. This westbound BNSF cottonseed train is the last one that we'll see in Tehachapi on this trip before I head home. On my way out of town, I took a quick video from the car of the Tehachapi cement plant and MONOLITH. The various structures and pipework reminded me of the steel mills where I grew up in northeastern Ohio. I tried to get off the freeway to catch this train, but was blocked by traffic stopped at a traffic light. I got ahead of it and took some still shots out the window. As well as this eastbound BNSF train that was just sitting in the siding with a B40-8W in the consist. In Barstow again, before heading home, I stopped to see what's sitting in the engine facilities. There's 3092 again. And one last BNSF bonnet before we call it a day.